what do you think is the potential for life expectancy and let's say, by 2050 or by 2100?
I am quite confident that it is in the three digits, at least 100. I would say 120, I put in the 50-50 range. 150, sort of the 25% possibility. And again, this goes to the compressed century idea. And it also gets to this idea that as we move past artificial general intelligence and go to artificial superintelligence, that AI might begin discovering things about our own self that we never would have discovered on our own. So I stay open to that possibility. And again, I think in one aspect that I do actually want to cover this issue, because I think one of the big things that I think we're going to see coming is, and this does sound like one of these woo-woo ideas, but this idea that humanity is about to split. I think that there are going to be a number of people who say, I can live to 150, I want to do it. If I can put a brain-computer neural interface in my brain and help me amplify my intelligence, I want to do that. I think you're going to see other people who say, I understand technology allows us to do that, but I don't want to do that. So I think, Don, that there is a 50-50 possibility that say you have a friend who's also 56 years of age. You decide you want to age naturally. This individual says, nope, I want to use all of this technology to live longer and to look younger. That you're going to have a peer who actually doesn't just look 56, might look 50, 45, 40, and you're going to live side by side. And I think we're actually going to see this play out in real time. And what does that mean for society? The term I use is, think of it this way. For lack of a better term, I call them the new Amish. 150 years ago, the Amish simply said, we're not going to judge you for using technology. We just don't like what the technology is doing to our families and our community, so we're going to say no. And I think you're going to see a certain subset of the population, and I think I might even be in this, that says, I understand technology can do that, but I don't want to do that. But I can't prevent the others from doing it.
Two comments on that. One is, I think we're the first species that is controlling its own evolution. Mm-hmm. I don't know of another species that's ever done that. And to me, we are evolving, and it's because we're choosing to, mm-hmm. versus natural selection and many, many generations changing after us. The second thing is, people have to remember that we are not the only Homo species that has ever existed, mm-hmm. right? Homo sapiens, there were other Homo species out there. And to your point, maybe we do deviate. Mm-hmm. And there are those natural Homo sapiens, and there's the enhanced Homo sapiens, and maybe we come up with another name for them. Mm-hmm. But I love where you're going with this, because I completely believe that is possible. And I've thought about that as well. I mean, there are people who tapped out, when the internet came around, mm-hmm. and said, nope, or go cell phone less, which is interesting. It's becoming very, very difficult to do that, but that is a possibility for those, small segment of the population.
I do think you can make a very coherent, strong intellectual argument to say humans invented technology and we were meant to incorporate and use that technology into ourselves. I think that's what Ray Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis say, that let's incorporate this technology into ourselves. The other camp, I think, says there's something unique about humans, that this notion of heart, spirit, soul is real, and that we can still evolve, but we are evolving not in a technological way, but we're evolving in almost a spiritual way. And I think that's sort of the big dichotomy that we're going to see in the future. And evolution will tell us which one wins. And right, one will rise to the top and one won't. Like, this is how evolution works. Some win, some lose. And that's where we're headed.
If we're able to age to 120, and let's say that those years are healthy years, because I think that's the other thing too, is we're really good at extending life, and it can be miserable for the last 10 or 20 years just because we're keeping people alive. But let's say we're able to live to 120 or 150 and they're healthy years, and we live in this world of abundance, because all of the things that you're talking about, we didn't get into farming, but I can imagine, and maybe you can touch on this, I can imagine that we are going to be able to produce more food than ever. We are going to be able to create, either through robots or artificial intelligence, all of the things that we need to live our lives. So what are we going to do with 40 years or 60 years without having to work, maybe? I think purpose becomes paramount, but how do we find our purpose? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, first, I just want to say, I really am optimistic about the future. And this idea of abundance is real. I can paint you a very realistic scenario of how technological advance is going to help us produce clean, super affordable, abundant energy. Healthcare is going to get really good. We're going to get really good at preventive and curing diseases. I think transportation, we're going to be able to, in a world of autonomous cars, people might not even need to own cars. They'll just access them. The advances in 3D printing might allow us to print affordable housing. So suddenly housing and AI and its applications to agriculture and food, and the advances in vertical farming, that we're going to be able to have food, shelter, healthcare, energy, transportation, all. And that is an extraordinary future, but it is going to leave people searching for meaning. So abundance, material abundance, is absolutely real. But I think that solution then creates the problem of, well, what is it that we're all about? How do we use all of our excess time? But this is where I think I'm really optimistic, in the sense that the hidden opportunity in AI is to actually make us more human. I'm not sure that, people were meant to be driving trucks cross country for 12 hours a day, that there's a better way for those individuals. There's a better way for me to live than to come to my office, in my case, work 40 or 50 or 60 hours a week. I enjoy what I do, but could I be doing other things? Could I be spending more time with my family, with my friends? Could I be writing poetry, creating music, doing other things? Yes, I think that is possible. I heard one person just think, like, a lion apparently only works 2 hours a day. Like, otherwise the lion just sort of lounges around. But those 2 hours, they have to work pretty hard in search of their food. But for the other, for the other 22 hours, like, they're sleeping and enjoying life somehow. And I think our human challenge is to figure out how to use all of this excess time. But I would say this, is that here's where I think, again, I'm optimistic. As long as there are problems in the world, and as far as I see, there's no shortage of problems, there will still be an opportunity for humans. And so I just want to go back to your sort of civilization change and the nation state. One of the paradoxes for me has always been, I love Tuscany and those old 15th century cities. And I know I'm romanticizing, but I'm like, that looks beautiful. And then I just juxtaposition it in my mind with a suburban strip mall. I go, we're 500 years more advanced and we've got strip malls, and they had this 500 years ago. But I think what we're going to do with all of this excess time is to begin reimagining beauty, is to say, you know what? I don't actually want to live in a world of strip malls and billboards and all of this other stuff. We can create a more beautiful future. And this is where curiosity and empathy and just sort of the unique human elements, I think we can express beauty, and I think we're going to see an expression of human beauty blossom in the future. So in that way, like the future for ourselves and your daughters, I think could be just unbelievably beautiful. Like to me, that's a really cool future. And it's one worth not only aspiring to, but moving in the direction of. And one of my responsibilities as a futurist is just to point out, it's so easy to go to the dark dystopian visions of the future. You know, you just watch Black Mirror and like you get the sense of how all of this stuff could go bad. But there's not enough people saying, here's how the future can be more beautiful. And it's one of the things I want to do in my work moving forward.